Hello, my name's Gloria and I'm 45 years old. When I reflect on the past, it's as if I'm transported back to a different time, a time when the allure of love and the promises of forever blinded me to the true nature of the man I married. Gloria, that was me, a young woman of 20, swept up in a whirlwind romance with Terence. Little did I know then that beneath his charming facade lay a monster. I was completely besotted with Terence, believing every word that dripped from his honeyed lips. He had a way of drawing me in, making me feel like the most important person in the world. But as time passed, cracks began to appear, revealing a toxic undercurrent that threatened to engulf our relationship. Terence had a knack for emotional manipulation. He would twist my words and actions, using them against me, leaving me second-guessing my every move. I would often excuse his behavior, convincing myself that love had the power to heal all wounds. But love, as I would come to learn, cannot fix the irreparable. It was a defining moment when I realized the depths of Terence's maliciousness, but unfortunately for me, it was much too late. He orchestrated a cunning plan to deceive me and wrongfully secure his name on the title deed of my beloved house. It was my sanctuary, a symbol of independence and hard-earned success. Yet he manipulated circumstances and exploited my trust, leaving me vulnerable and disheartened. I started innocently enough, with Terence insisting that it would be beneficial for us to have joint ownership of the house. I, foolishly, blinded by love, agreed, never suspecting the sinister motive lurking beneath his charming smile. Unbeknownst to me, he manipulated legal documents, using my trust as a weapon to gain control over my property. I still remember the day I discovered his deceit. It was a cruel twist of fate that led me to stumble upon the truth, unraveling the web of lies he had spun. As I delved deeper into the legal intricacies, I uncovered the cold truth. My house, my haven, was no longer solely mine, but his. It felt as if the ground beneath me crumbled, leaving me suspended in a void of disbelief and betrayal. I remember confronting the beast, my heart pounding in my chest. I mustered every ounce of courage to confront him about his deceitful nature. The air crackled with tension as our gazes locked. His eyes were void of remorse. "How could you do this to me, Terence? How could you betray the love we once shared?" Terence smirked, a cruel twist of his lips that sent shivers down my spine. "Oh, Gloria, you were always so naive, so gullible. Did you honestly believe I loved you? You were nothing more than a toy to me, a plaything to amuse myself with." His words cut through me like a blade, leaving me stunned and wounded. The depth of his callousness was unfathomable. "How dare you say that? I devoted myself to you, supported you through thick and thin, and this is how you repay me?" Terence's smirk widened. His eyes glinted with a sick satisfaction. "You were just a means to an end, Gloria. A stepping stone on my path to personal gain. And stealing this house from you, it was just a small taste of the power I could truly wield over you." His words hung in the air, dripping with arrogance and contempt. I struggled to contain the surge of anger welling up within me. The revelation shook me to the core. How could I have been so blind? How could I have allowed myself to be ensnared in this tangled web of deception? In the wake of Terence's cruel confession, my heart shattered into even smaller fragments. As if his betrayal wasn't enough, he added insult to injury by declaring that he wanted a divorce. The very foundation of my world crumbled beneath my feet, and I struggled to catch my breath amidst the devastation. Stupidly, though, I began to beg for him. "Terence, please, we can work through this. Let's fix whatever is wrong between us. I still love you despite everything. We can't get divorced." My voice quivered with desperation, my mind clouded by the manipulation and hypnotic hold he still had on me. I couldn't fathom a life without him, despite the toxic web he had woven around us. Terence, however, remained resolute, his eyes devoid of any compassion. "Enough, Gloria. I've grown tired of this game. You mean nothing to me now. It's time for you to face the consequences of your naivety and foolishness." His callous dismissal crushed my spirit further, leaving me utterly devastated. The man I had once believed to be my partner, my confidant, was now nothing more than a heartless stranger. But we vowed to be there for each other, for better or for worse. How can you abandon me like this? Listen to what I'm saying. I'm trying to fix this even though you've broken my heart. Terence's face contorted into a mocking sneer, his words laced with disdain. "Vows mean nothing to me, Gloria. I used you, played with your emotions, and now I'm done. You were just a pawn in my game. Get that through your head and stop embarrassing yourself." The realization hit me like a tidal wave, stripping away the last remnants of denial. I had been blind to the true nature of the man I had loved, a mere puppet in his calculated scheme. After the divorce was finalized, my journey toward healing began. The wounds inflicted by Terence's manipulation and abuse ran deep, and it took an extensive period for me to regain my sense of self and rebuild the shattered pieces of my life. I sought solace in therapy, where I confronted the trauma I had endured and gradually reclaimed my inner strength. One battle remained unresolved, as you might have been wondering: the fight for my stolen house. The very thought of facing Terence in court sends shivers down my spine. Resurrecting the fear that had plagued me for so long, I was completely petrified. You might judge me, but I simply couldn't fight him for it, even though that house had my blood, sweat, and tears. I thought it was much better for me to rent a crappy apartment than endure facing that man again and again to reclaim my house. That's how traumatized I was. 13 long years had passed since the day Terence deceitfully acquired the title deed to my cherished home. During that time, I had managed to rebuild my life, creating a new haven for myself filled with love, positivity, and a sense of security. The scars of my past remained, etched into my soul, of course, but I had become somewhat resilient, determined not to let the shadows of my past dictate my future. Then, one fateful day, an unexpected message appeared on my phone screen from Facebook, a name that triggered a mix of emotions. Carl, my ex-father-in-law. It had been years since we had any contact, and I wondered what could have compelled him to reach out to me now. Curiosity mingled with apprehension as I opened the message, unsure of what awaited me within its contents. The words that unfolded before my eyes carried a mix of regret and sincerity. "Gloria, I hope this message finds you well. I have carried the burden of guilt for far too long, knowing the role I played in the injustice inflicted upon you. I'm so sorry. I didn't believe you before, but Terence's character has proven to me that you were indeed telling the truth this whole time. It was him who was abusive and manipulative, not you. And I see that now. I'm so sorry for not believing you. I cannot change the past, but I wish to make amends and seek your forgiveness. Please, let's meet and catch up. With love, Carl." A rush of conflicting emotions washed over me. doubt, caution, but also a glimmer of hope. Could this be a genuine opportunity to make amends? I'll admit, I was more than interested in uncovering what made Carl open his eyes to his son's behavior. After much contemplation, I decided to meet with Carl, armed with both skepticism and unwavering determination. We arranged to meet in a public place, ensuring my safety and minimizing the risk of falling into a trap set by my abusive ex-husband. As I sat across from Carl, the years etched on his face served as a reminder of the time that had passed. He spoke with a voice laden with remorse and regret. "Gloria, I'm truly sorry for the pain you endured, and for my role in it. The truth is, I never wanted to see you hurt, but I was weak and allowed Terrence's influence to cloud my judgment. He manipulated the situation, exploiting my trust, convincing me that the divorce was all your fault. But after all these years, I couldn't help but think that he was the one who was at fault this whole time. I told you, I begged you to believe me, but you did nothing. Gloria, my dear, he's my son. I was inclined to believe whatever he told me over what you had to say, but I see how foolish I was to think that. What made you begin to believe me? What did Terrence do?" I guess I'll just lay it all out on the table, huh? As you can see, I'm no spring chicken. I'm dying, Gloria. It's my liver. The doctors say there's nothing they can do. Oh my goodness. Yes. I've been struggling with this for a long time. Once Terrence heard of my ailment, it was like he couldn't wait to plan my funeral. His behavior was increasingly odd, to the point where all he could talk about was the inheritance he was going to receive after my death. That's awful. How could he be so rude? After noting this, I started to think about you, and I started to wonder if you were the good guy after all. And surely enough, Terrence made me believe that he was a monster. He doesn't care about anyone at all, and he'll stomp on anyone who gets in his way. When I confronted him about my suspicions, when I told him that I was starting to believe you instead of him, he only confirmed my doubts when he would respond dismissively and arrogantly. I see that he was the true monster all along, and I'm so sorry I didn't pay attention to you during the divorce. I'm sorry I cut you out of my life without hearing you out properly. So this is your way of righting your wrongs? You don't want to end up in hell, so you're now all of a sudden growing a conscience. Gloria, I know that you probably won't forgive me. It's been far too long. I understand that. Even if you don't forgive me, I would love it if you'd be with me in the last moments of my life. Other than Terrence, I have no one else, and I would like to leave this world knowing that the last couple of moments I spent were with a genuine and kind soul. My heart wavered between forgiveness and the weight of betrayal. Could I trust this dying man's words? Was he sincere in his desire to rectify the past? I mean, being married to his son was traumatizing enough, and they say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. How was I to believe this man had good intentions if his son was so good at deceiving and manipulating people? I had to at least ponder on it, so I told him just that, and we subsequently parted ways. The news of Carl's terminal liver failure hit me with a mixture of sadness and conflicting emotions, I'll admit. I felt sorry for the man. Despite the pain he and his son had caused me, I couldn't help but feel a sense of compassion and empathy for his deteriorating health. The fragility of life had a way of putting things into perspective. Weeks passed, and the weight of Carl's request lingered in the back of my mind. The turmoil within me raged on, torn between the past and the present, between forgiveness and self-preservation. Then, one day, as I grappled with my decision, the ringing of the phone broke through the silence. It was Carl. His voice, frail, yet filled with urgency. Gloria, I'm in the hospital. Time is slipping away, and I have but a few precious moments left. I need to see you. to apologize to you in person one last time before I leave this world. Please, I ask you to find it in your heart to come to the hospital." His words hung heavy in the air, intertwining with my inner struggles. I knew deep down that accepting his request could provide a form of closure, an opportunity to confront the demons of the past. With a hesitant yet determined voice, I agreed to visit him. As I stepped into the sterile, somber corridors of the hospital, my heart raced with anticipation and trepidation. It was a stark reminder of the fragility of life, the fleeting nature of our existence. Entering Carl's hospital room, I was met with the sight of a weakened man lying in bed that seemed too large compared to his wasted state. He definitely looked much worse than the last time I saw him. I couldn't help but sympathize. Tossing aside my reservations, I reached out to a man that was once a prominent father figure in my life. "Oh, Carl, I'm so sorry you're in this state. I should have put my pride to the side and called sooner. Had I known that things had gotten this bad, I would have been here sooner. I'm so sorry." "No, dear, don't be sorry for me. I lived a full life. I should be the one apologizing here for my stupid son's behavior. So, once again, Gloria, I am truly sorry that my son hurt you, and I'm also sorry for not believing you." "Carl, thank you so much. You'll also have to forgive me once more for lying." "Lying?" "Yes, lying. I didn't only call you here to apologize." "Oh?" "Yes, I called you here to let you know that I wish to pass on my inheritance now." I was confused. Why on earth did he need me to be present for this? As he was about to explain, our conversation was abruptly interrupted by an unexpected intrusion. The atmosphere shifted as the door swung open, revealing Terence standing there, his eyes immediately locking with mine. Terence, unable to contain his rage, burst forth with a harsh tone, demanding to know what I was doing in Carl's hospital room. "What the hell are you doing here, Gloria?" Carl, weakened but resolute, spoke up, his voice trembling with indignation. "Terence, have you no decency? Gloria has every right to be here because I say so. It's my deathbed after all." A torrent of heated words erupted between them, each defending their stance. Carl berated Terence for his toxic behavior and manipulation, exposing the depths of his cruelty. Terence, as arrogant as ever, dismissed Carl's words and tried to assert his dominance. I was caught in the crossfire of their arguments, feeling a surge of frustration and despair. It seemed no matter where I turned, the specter of my past haunted me. Feeling overwhelmed, I rose from my seat, intending to leave the room and escape the growing turmoil, but Carl's voice halted my steps. "Gloria, please stay. Believe it or not, this inheritance issue concerns you. You have endured enough, and it's time for me to declare my true intentions and attempt reparations." Reluctantly, I resumed my seat, compelled by Carl's request, though Terence's presence filled me with unease. I knew that this moment had the potential to bring closure, address the past, and pave the way for a new chapter. With a deep breath, Carl began to lay out the details of his inheritance. As Carl's words settled in the air, a profound sense of astonishment washed over me. He revealed that the entirety of his inheritance, which amounted to a considerable fortune, amounting to almost 7 figures, was to be bestowed upon me. I sat there, dumbfounded, struggling to grasp the magnitude of what he was saying. Carl, his voice filled with a mixture of regret and determination, disclosed a secret he had meticulously guarded for years. He confessed to having amassed significant wealth, which he had deliberately kept hidden, intending to pass it on to his future grandchildren. However, the dissolution of my marriage to Terence had thwarted that plan, leaving a void where dreams of a flourishing family once thrived. The next natural beneficiary would have been Terence, Carl's son. But as the truth of Terence's true nature had been unveiled to Carl, he could not bear the thought of his hard-earned fortune falling into the hands of such a toxic individual. Instead, Carl had chosen to redirect his legacy, entrusting it solely to me. Terence, unable to contain his fury and sense of entitlement, erupted in a fit of rage. His voice reverberated through the hospital room as he vehemently proclaimed the injustice of it all, passionately asserting his claim to the fortune he believed should rightfully be his. "This is outrageous! All that money should be mine! I deserve it!" I remained calm, my gaze fixed on Carl, recognizing the weight of his decision. This inheritance was not just about financial gain. It was a testament to his belief in my truth, strength, and resilience. It was an acknowledgement of the pain and suffering I had endured and the steps I had taken to rebuild my life. Carl, his voice steady and resolute, responded to Terence's outburst with unwavering resolve. "Terence, you have shown time and again that you are not worthy of this inheritance. It was meant to be passed on to future generations, but your toxic behavior has forever severed that possibility. After all these years and analyzing your disgusting character, I believe in Gloria. She's proven herself to be a person of integrity and compassion, despite the hell you put her through. It is she who shall carry the torch of my legacy. And that is final. I just wanted you to both hear it from me." The room fell into an uneasy silence, the weight of Carl's words hanging in the air. The truth of his decision and the implications of it all settled upon us, each grappling with the significance in our way. For me, it was an unexpected turn of events, a validation of the strength I had found within myself. But more than that, it was a newfound sense of security, a chance to reclaim what was stolen from me and forge a brighter future. As for Terence, his screams of protest fell upon deaf ears. The world, in its relentless justice, refused to bow to his desires. The realization that his toxic actions had severed him from the very legacy he believed was his birthright seemed to dawn upon him, if only for a fleeting moment. Not long after this entire situation, Carl passed away. It was truly devastating, and I truly miss him every day. With Carl's passing, the final chapter of this tumultuous journey ended. True to his word, the entirety of the inheritance he had meticulously accumulated was rightfully bequeathed to me, as stated in his will. The legal battles that Terence waged in a futile attempt to claim what he believed were his share of the wealth proved fruitless. Carl's intentions were firmly set in stone, and his wishes were carried out faithfully. Aware of the lingering threat that Terence posed, I took proactive measures to ensure my safety and peace of mind. Extra security for myself was enlisted, providing a shield against any potential harm that he might attempt. I refused to let fear govern my life any longer. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the weight of the inheritance settled upon me, like a beacon of hope and newfound possibilities. Terence, in stark contrast, found himself grappling with the stark reality of his actions. The magnitude of what he had stolen from me paled in comparison to what I had ultimately won in the end. The knowledge that his manipulations and toxic behavior had led him down a path of isolation and despair slowly began to sink in. Meanwhile, I found solace in the newfound security and freedom that the inheritance bestowed upon me. With my sights set on a brighter future, I made plans to relocate, to embark on a new chapter of my life in a different state. The shadows of my past would no longer hold me captive, and the echoes of Terence's voice would fade into distant memory. As I sit here, reflecting upon the trials and tribulations I have endured, a sense of profound gratitude washes over me. The wealth I have inherited is not just a means to an end, but a catalyst for transformation, a stepping stone towards realizing my dreams and ambitions. I am no longer defined by the scars of my past, but empowered by the strength I discovered within myself. The woman who hastily married Terence, blinded by love and naivety, has evolved into a force to be reckoned with. A woman who has risen from the ashes, unyielding in her pursuit of happiness and fulfillment.